Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dawn Patrol. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. My co-host, Eileen Delrossi, is here. Say hello, Eileen.
Good morning, everybody.
And, of course, we have our producer, John McDonough.
I'm going to go sit on Facebook.
I have two pieces of paper for you, too. The weather today. Oh, we're expecting
it's
Melanie.
freezing. It's like a heat wave.
Yeah, it was 14 when I pulled into the parking lot.
This plastic paper?
No, it's not plastic paper. It's just heavyweight.
No, this feels not heavy.
Anyway, 14 degrees. Some places in Massachusetts are in the single digits. And on WCAP this morning, they mentioned one place that was below zero.
And Mass?
It's not going to get better. So this is good. Bundle your kids up and send them off to school so that they can tell their grandchildren about how tough it was back in 25. Anyway. So.
Well, they were saying on News Center 5 how this is the 10-year anniversary of storms.
Is that right?
In 2015.
Yeah. So, today in 1908, the first Boy Scout troop was organized in England by Robert Baden-Powell. In 1933, the 20th Amendment was passed, which moved the inauguration up to January from April. 1961, Goldsboro B-52 crash, carrying two thermonuclear weapons, H-bombs, broke up over North Carolina. The uranium core of one weapon remains lost. So, 1972, Japanese Sergeant Shiochi Yokoi is found hiding in a Guam jungle where he had been since the end of World War II. Boy, here's a guy who understands don't leave your post. In 1984, Apple Computer places the Macintosh on sale. And this morning's news said that Apple just bought its building down in Boston for $8.8 million. 2003, the Department of Homeland Security officially begins operation, but didn't actually get serious until yesterday. 1888, Ernest Henkel, German engineer and businessman, was born. He's the founder of Henkel Aircraft. 1899, Hoyt S. Vandenberg, U.S. Air Force four-star general, chief of staff, had passed away in 1954. He was born and lived out on Andover Street before he went off to join the military. And in 1965, Winston Churchill passed away. So, new fires in L.A., did you see that, Eileen?
Yeah, it keeps happening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
it's
can.
Not good.
No. I think, they're up to 27 dead now?
Yeah.
And apparently, there's talk of an insurance premium on everybody in California to help pay for the damages that the insurance is not going to be able to cover. So, I don't know. Is it going to change anything? Don't think so. Do you think so? Are they going to vote any different? Eileen,
I'm sorry, but can you repeat that, Cliff?
do you think they're going to vote any different out in California? I mean, Huntington Beach aside,
Anything different in terms of what?
in terms of how they vote.
Oh, yes, after this whole experience, especially because no one's going to be able to get health insurance anymore,
Yeah.
right? And I would think that would be a huge piece of the political piece in elections.
Health insurance or home insurance?
Oh, I'm sorry, home insurance, house insurance, I
Yeah.
said, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not optimistic. I voted in Huntington Beach for 25 years or so. But and Orange County is sort of Republican, but the rest of it just keeps voting for this craziness. So what do we think? Today is the 24th. Monday was the inauguration. Did you see it?
I saw bits and pieces, but I'm impressed with Carrie Underwood with the music not working and her going a cappella.
Oh, yeah, that was impressive. Very impressive. The other thing I liked was the midshipman choir from Annapolis singing Battle Hymn of the Republic. It was great. But then I asked my grandson, did you ever learn Battle Hymn of the Republic in school? He had no idea what it was. I asked him about John Brown's body. No. So I didn't get around to asking him if he learned the Whiff and Poof song. But could we not teach the Battle Hymn of the Republic to our students anymore?
Not in this curriculum.
I mean, isn't that part of the history of the Civil War?
I mean, can you sing it for me so I know exactly what you're talking, like, as short as possible? Can you sing it for as short as possible of a time? Or just even maybe let me know the words in it so I can see if it's familiar to me? I want to see if I learned it.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the grapes of wrath, the Lord. He has loosed in his sweet sword. Yeah. His
Well, when you just said the Lord, I don't know. It's the separation of state and, like, church and state, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's allowed anymore.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to try it one more time for John.
Trump. Yeah.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. You've heard that, haven't you, John?
We used to sing it in St. Peter's School. We'd always people on the show me sung in St. Peter's School. Marching all over the place. It was a fun time. First text of the day. I don't have a mic yet, Cliff, so can you read that one?
Good morning. Out of all the news stations in the Commonwealth, Channel 5 is the most dishonest and spreader of fake news. Ooh. Not good for Channel 5.
Okay, Jim, put my mic on, wait a second. Yeah. Okay, Jim, give us an example, a recent example of fake news spread by the culprits at Channel 5. Then I got a question for Eileen. Eileen, Eileen, do you have any updates on,
That's it. No, that's it. Thank you.
So the order on your screen correct?
who's the girl on
Wait,
trial?
880, please.
Sorry about that. What was your question, John?
The girl on trial this week, she had, you always commented about her. I can't think of her name. Karen Reed,
Yeah.
update.
Yes.
What's going on with Karen
Oh.
Reed?
Wait,
So
that's not on the
apparently-
agenda.
Oh, is that at a different point in the agenda, Cliff?
No, we didn't have that.
I bet you don't have the Barack and Michelle breakup either.
Absolutely not. I would not discuss that. Go ahead,
Yeah, Barack
Eileen.
apparently is with
No,
Jennifer
don't talk
Aniston.
about it, Eileen. Talk about Karen Reed.
Next, we'll talk about Michelle and Barack.
No, we won't.
I love
Eileen wants to.
it. But, actually, I need about 2 seconds, and I have an interesting story. So apparently the defense had an expert come out to review the public video of the Canton Police Department, and there was nothing on there. So the defense now is requesting that the prosecution pay for that expert who came out to look at everything, which I don't blame them because of all the corruption that has happened in this case.
Yeah,
Cliff,
it
we
just
have
gets worse and worse.
a suggestion to your singing this morning, and it says City Life Karaoke.
Yeah, well, my wife's comment is sing Sweet and Low, Far, Far Away. So, Eileen, do they teach any songs to the students these days?
We do not teach that song to our students. And
about
a
the
lot of our
Wolfen Blues
kindergartners don't know how to say the Pledge of Allegiance yet.
Wasn't that enough for invalid, honey?
Okay.
So, they don't, who doesn't know how to say the pledge?
A lot of our kindergarteners.
Yeah. But the first graders do, right?
880, honey.
Yes.
All right, that's good. Do they do it the pre-1954 way, or do they do it the current way?
The current way. The easiest way possible.
That'll be right up.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm getting... On Fridays, I let Anthony get McDonald's for breakfast,
Oh,
since I'm usually, like, on the phone, so that's what you hear in the background. He gets an egg and cheese on a biscuit, extra cheese, 2 hash browns, and a Dr. Pepper to start his day.
oh. And then you drive back home?
Yeah. Well, Thursdays, he does basketball with his cousins, and he likes to stay at my sister's on Thursday night. So I'll drive right down the street to get my sister. We'll go home. He'll eat, and then the bus will come and get him, and then I'll head there.
Have a good day, honey.
Okay. So, did you see where the president signed an executive order on birthright citizenship?
Yes, it's stirring up. I don't know about the birthright citizenship stirring up a lot, but I think everything he signed this week on Monday is stirring up a lot, honestly. But where they're really enforcing ICE to be able to go into schools and churches and everything. I get they have to be aggressive, especially when you look at somebody, you look at Lake and Riley, right? I get they have to be aggressive, but it's like, is there any way that they can do it in a more strategic or a more, organized? And some people, you get the criminals that come into this country and they do horrible things that don't belong, but then you get the families who have truly suffered, who come to this country and are trying to do the best by their children at the same time. And so it's just heartbreaking.
So birthright citizenship means that if you're pregnant and you make it to the United States, your kid's an American citizen.
Right.
And,
Yeah. So I went way off there. Right. So, yeah.
No, you were doing okay.
Okay.
So Trump has said no. And this is based on the 14th Amendment and the word in the 14th Amendment. And I don't know what...
Well, let me put this on the table, Cliff.
What?
President Trump suggested, that we're the only country that does that.
I've heard that suggested. On the other hand, my youngest was born in Germany, and we had to we didn't take him, but we had to go get the embassy to record his birth. Otherwise, he'd be liable to the draft by the German military. Now, that may not be birthright citizenship, but it's a fact that Germany would have been prepared to make him part of the army.
What did you have to do?
We had to register our youngest with the U.S. Embassy when he was born. He was born in Merch, Germany.
Oh, wow. Well, it's interesting. Anthony's, one of his good friends was born in Germany. And I remember them telling us the story of, his parents telling us the story of when he was just a baby getting him a passport. But I wonder if, like, as of today, you still have to do that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think
I'll
so.
see them next week. I'll mention that. I'm sure they did. They're very smart, but interesting.
So, on the other hand, Native Americans who've been born in this country for generations didn't get U.S. citizenship until the 1920s. So where was their birthright citizenship? Anyway, a judge has ruled that this can't go into effect yet, so it's being reviewed by the courts. 18 states sued.
Comment from the audience, how about the $8 million that was stolen from the T? Is that on the agenda?
No, text us some more. So, John asks about accountability from time to time. Did you see where the Coast Guard Commandant was terminated over border lapses, recruitment, DEI, the problems with acquisition of new Coast Guard cutters?
Cliff, I am tickled pink people get fired for not doing their job.
Admiral Linda Fagan.
And he will try to get his job back. He didn't get fired. He didn't get kicked out of the service, did he?
Who?
This person you're talking about from the Coast Guard.
You misgendered this person. Shame on you.
Cliff, I cannot hear you. Would you speak up, please?
Linda Fagan.
Okay. Did they get fired?
They're being retired.
So are they in the Navy or are they in the Coast Guard?
They're probably still being processed.
You don't know. Never mind.
John, they're probably being processed
Cliff,
for retirement.
I no longer care.
These things are complicated.
You make them complicated, Cliff.
No, I
It's a
don't.
simple yes or no question.
Anyway, you retire, so you leave the service, but if you have leave stored up, your actual retirement date is pushed out until you've burned up all that leave. I came up here in March of 1994, and my retirement date was June because I had that much saved up leave. You know what I mean, John? Do your people get to save leave, or is it use it or lose it?
Cliff, I was out of the room adjusting the thermostat because it's roasting in here. And you think I can magically hear you. So I 100% apologize. I cannot read lips. Would you please repeat the issue and then the question?
I said that when I retired from the Air Force, I quit working and came up here, but I wasn't officially retired, and I came up here in March, but I wasn't officially retired until June because I had leave, and they added that on to my time, so my official retirement was June, but I was effectively retired in March. So my question was, do people who work for you, do they get to bank their leave?
No.
No?
No.
Oh. Use it or lose it, huh?
They don't have it.
They don't have any personal time off, vacation?
Yes, they take vacations whenever they feel like it, for as long as they want. And if they're sick, stay home and enjoy that. If you need a personal day to go because I'm stressed out, or I got my grandkids going to go to Holy Communion, all that stuff happens. No questions are asked.
Very magnanimous. I'm impressed. John,
Which I think most small businesses work that way. We're like family. But go ahead.
you know Sunday's National Spouses Day? You going to take Ellen out for a big dinner?
Speaking of National Spouses Day, yes, if Ellen wants to go out to dinner, I'd love to take her out to dinner. We'll see what happens. What do you think? Where do you think Barack's taking Michelle on National
John,
Spouses?
let's not talk about that.
No, it's a big hot topic.
No, it is intruding on someone's personal life, and it's wrong.
You just asked me what I'm doing the weekend with the wife. What are you doing the weekend with the wife?
I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm going to try and talk her into going out to dinner.
At the Longhorn.
Probably the Longhorn, yeah.
Who's taking who out to dinner?
Taking my spouse out to dinner.
Oh, very nice.
So, Eileen, do you think it's important we talk about Michelle and Barack breaking up, or what? That's
John, this is
inside a personal circle.
Distasteful.
I mean, we're a talk show. I think it's important to talk about this so that we can decipher this for our audience. And I want to know where Jennifer Aniston comes in.
I guess she's on the underside of the situation.
Oh,
Oh.
that's a terrible way to put things. Are we going to start by asking...
We want to know,
about
as long
Anthony's
as they're
father?
famous, rich and famous. I mean, as a school committee person, if I go out, anybody can take a picture of me, right? So, I believe without my own permission. So when you're as famous and rich and political as Barack Obama and Michelle, I believe our birthright citizenship is to talk about him.
I think that that's just intruding in someone's private life.
What's more fun than that?
Well put, Eileen. The gossip on social media is that Barack is dating Jennifer Aniston.
Interesting. Well, I mean, we could always make a portion of the Dawn Patrol, like the Dawn Enquirer, like the National Enquirer? We like maybe 5 minutes.
No.
No. No. Yes.
Let's talk about the election.
Oh, no, Cliff, the audience seems to like this issue.
I gave John a chart. I emailed the chart to Eileen. But back in November, we voted. And in Massachusetts,
What chart do you want, Cliff?
these charts.
Okay, I'll go look for that one.
Back in November, Massachusetts.
Let me read this text. Home run for Mr. McDonough. President Obama is fair game. For years, he would wave his finger at us. The gloves should be off. That's from Jay. Thanks, Jay.
It's gossip, Jay. We shouldn't gossip.
Well, where was Michelle at Carter's funeral? I think
Hawaii.
Barack is out of the big bed.
Let's talk about something important. Guess who I saw at White Dove Pantry the other day?
Did you see Corey Robinson? I talked to him yesterday over text.
No, I saw Marie Sweeney. She was out and about on her cane.
She's my favorite Democrat.
I know.
She can do no wrong. Whatever she says goes. Love her.
But she had fallen and broken a couple bones and had been in rehab and then at home. I hadn't seen her in Mass in a couple months, but there she was out with her husband coming out of the White Dove Pantry, which used to be White Hen Pantry.
Wait, who was it that you saw?
Marie Sweeney.
Don't know her.
She used to be head of GLAD, Greater Lowell Area Democrats. She lives in Tewksbury.
She's one of the sweetest gals you're ever going to meet.
Yes.
I want her in charge on Judgment Day.
So, in Massachusetts in 2020, we had 3,631 people turn out to vote, and in 2024, we only had 3,473,000, a difference of 157,000. Where did those people go?
Hey, Cliff,
Yeah?
I sent you this text message. And you didn't put it on the agenda.
What text message?
Right there. I sent you that text message.
Yeah,
And you didn't put it on the agenda.
absolutely.
So what's the sense of sending you any text messages? Is this the
No.
slide you want?
No, keep going. Go to the bottom slide. Yeah, that's the one. That's the first one.
I'll draw it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Fill up the screen with it. There you go.
As we can see, Kamala Harris did less well than Barack Obama. And we can see that Donald Trump actually improved his vote getting between 2020 and 2024.
One of the talk shows was saying how Vice President Harris and her husband are having a little bit of a squabble.
Ooh, do you think that Kamala Harris's husband and maybe Michelle Obama may end up together?
Go up one slide, John.
You can tell Cliff doesn't want to talk about this at all. Comparison of a popular vote.
So,
Biden and Trump. Biden is blue and Trump is red.
no, but close.
Well, what the hell is this? This red here. What color is this?
That's, I'm sorry, yeah, that's Trump.
And
Red,
what
Trump's
color,
in
what
red.
color is this?
That's blue.
And Biden.
Biden,
Trump.
but then you have Harris. And as you can see, Harris of 2024 would have beaten Trump of 2020. So, but yet Trump picked up a lot of votes in November that people weren't they weren't prepared to put up with the Biden-Harris combination there. I was kind of struck by that.
Struck. Okay.
The other explanation for that, one explanation is that Biden had so destroyed the Democrat reputation
That's opinion.
that, yeah, that's why the expression, one explanation, is that Biden...
Like Eileen said, it is a talk show.
Yeah, but I didn't understand what you were trying to convey by it's an opinion. We're having trouble with this.
Another comment from the audience here.
All right.
And it says, if I get up on screen, have pluses on it. Come on, get up there, buddy boy. Okay. Celebrity gossip and karaoke. Friday is shaping up for the ratings juggernaut. Thank you for your comments. Good, well put.
So either the Biden administration so alienated the American people that millions of folks stayed home, or the other explanation in my mind is 2020 was rigged.
Well, rolling back, Cliff, okay?
All right.
There was overconfidence by Trump, big time, first time around. He did not ask for the vote. Second time around, he still didn't ask for the vote. I never heard the guy ask for the vote. And the same thing with Vice President Harris, Kamala Harris. I never heard her ask for the vote. And this new wave of getting people to vote for you is interesting. Because yesterday you had to ask for the vote, or you weren't going to get it.
Yeah. So where did those 3 million people who didn't vote in 2024 go? They just were never Trumpers who hated the Democrats? Is that it?
No, they stayed home. Trump's got this. Trump's got this. I ain't worried about it. And Trump lost. Overconfidence.
In
That's my take.
2024. Trump lost in 2024?
Never mind, Cliff. I think you know what I meant. So you can try to make me look like a dummy. That's okay. I got the
Yeah, I thought you were trying to make me look like a dummy.
I got the controls over here.
Over 3 million people between 2020 and 2024 did not vote.
So you're telling me this year, in the last election, 3 million less people voted?
You put the slide back up and let's look at it.
I don't think I have the right slide up there, but that's okay, easily fixed. This the one?
Can't tell.
Nah, this is the Massachusetts one?
No, not the Massachusetts one, the one above it.
All right, go to this guy.
As you look at it,
Whoop, we lost it.
you can see that there was a big fall off in votes between 2020 and 2024. I just can't imagine with issues like inflation and the border and all that.
Well, maybe the fake voters didn't come out.
Well, that's entirely possible.
So the fake voters stayed home.
Yeah. So, anyway, I thought it was interesting. And the other interesting thing is we finally have the votes all counted. It's taken a long time.
That's California. They had a fire.
Yep.
Another comment from the audience. I can blow this guy up. The Biden-Harris administration did it to themselves with DEI and mixed messages about the economy and the border. That's from Jay. I like
Cheers.
the word salad. I like the word salad that came out of the last election. I like that phrase. Is Eileen coming or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I'm quoting,
Yes, I'm just waiting for the bus to pick up Anthony. And then I was going to ask what type of donuts are you guys in the mood for this morning?
none.
He
None?
wants a nun's donut. I'll take, where you gonna go?
Top donut.
Coconut covered, cream filled.
Ooh.
That's the best donut on the planet. You should get one for yourself.
Well, I'm going to get 3. I'm going to get one for you, one for Melanie, and one to tempt Cliff.
Well, then in that case, make it a Bavarian.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Real Clear Wire said some Harris supporters, especially among the D.C. professional class, attribute Harris's loss to Trump's voters' gullibility or malice. They say that America is thriving, crime is down, employment is low, and Biden passed major legislation to combat inflation and enhance America's ability to compete with China. Therefore, only a public that fell for right-wing misinformation or backs Trump's authoritarian disposition could have elected him president. There you are. The Democratic view. The view from the village. All right. Moving right on, the Israeli-Hamas agreement, we got 3 hostages released. 3 Israeli hostages being held by Hamas.
Comment from the audience. Donuts. Woo!
So,
John, am I kicked out of the Monday night dinner club?
You're gonna be.
All right. I need to mentally prepare.
Well, I'll talk to you when I see you.
Okay.
That was a topic I was gonna bring up
Okay.
because you don't respond.
I know. But like when it's my turn, I call and make reservations and I just go through and I count the people who are said attending.
I understand, but you don't respond.
I know. It's
And
like
so-
I don't want to confuse the situation,
tomorrow-
but it's better to respond than to not respond.
Tomorrow, when you are on 93 and you're doing 80 miles an hour, and you get pulled over by a state trooper and she gives you a ticket, are you going to say, what about the other people?
Right.
So we'll talk about what I see.
Okay.
Easily remedied.
domestic issues.
Respond.
So, what
I know.
do you think? Is this truce disagreement going to hold between Israel and Hamas?
Well, I'm hoping for a truce deal with the Monday night dinner club. And if I promise to respond.
Yeah, you're all set. You just got to respond. Are you coming to McDonald's or you're not?
All right. Well, this is what my head does. My head says, I'm going to definitely try to make it. Okay, I can make it. And then I don't get to the responding part of it. Because then I'm like, I don't trust myself. What if something comes up? But then I never get back to the I will not attend part.
What you do is, like Dominic, he's going to get bounced too.
Oh.
So what you do
no.
is, yeah, Dominic doesn't respond. What if you want to get a hold of Dominic, you have to go through Patty Kerwin-Kelty. If you want Dominic, that's how much Dominic's off the radar.
So,
You may be smart. All right. Sorry, Cliff. Go ahead.
so what do we think about President Trump wanting to abolish the penny?
No. Why?
Because it costs 3 cents for every penny we mint.
Bye-bye, Penny. Bye-bye.
It's expensive.
Bye-bye. I
Well,
think we
I
should
think
make a
there's enough
25,
pennies in this world.
I think we should make a $25 bill and put Melania on it.
Ooh.
The spouse of the president will be on the $25 bill. So, the Michelle Obama $25 bills will be all collectible now. First divorce of a president. Ever. Cliff doesn't think this is news.
I think it's gossip, John.
No, Cliff.
Didn't you,
It's reality.
didn't you
It's
learn that
breakup.
gossip is
They're
bad?
gone. Broke up. What?
Didn't you learn that gossip is bad? And you don't know that there's going to be a breakup. They could have exchanged terrible words, but they could reconcile.
Would you like to put a wager on this? I'll bet you breakfast at the Owl Diner. It's over.
Okay,
You're on?
yeah.
Okay.
Good, now we can go on to the
Is Eileen
penny.
coming to breakfast too, or just, Eileen's invited too?
She's got to go to work.
We can do it in summer, or April vacation.
Yeah. So,
April vacation, by April vacation, that'll
all
be
right.
the deal.
Okay, so Canada, they lost what? The consumers, it cost when they abolished the penny, it cost the consumers, I have a number here if I can find it, 3.27 million in more spending because everybody rounded prices up at the grocery store. So,
For a nickel.
to a nickel, yeah.
Okay.
So the mint produced 4.5 billion pennies in 2023. That's a lot of money. It cost the American taxpayers $175 million in extra cost to mint all those pennies. So, Eileen, do you want to stop carrying pennies around and go with nickels and dimes and quarters? Eileen.
Yes, I'm going to empty out my Poland Spring water bottle jug filled with pennies, and maybe I'll just take it everywhere I go, and just say I still have my penny.
Okay. John, are you for or against dropping the penny?
Cliff, I'm very spoiled. I don't do change. So when I go into Top Donut and I get myself a coffee, and we'll say it costs 92 cents, I don't take the 8 cents. I just tell the kid, stick that in your pocket, buddy. Thank you. I don't take the 8 cents. If it costs $1.01, I give the clerk the 99 cents. I'm all set, buddy. Thank you. I don't take.
I just told Anthony
Points.
as he's leaving, I'm like, "Is the other getting rid of the penny?" And he's like, "Why?" I said, "Because it costs 3 cents for every just 1 penny to even make." He's like, So.
So what does Jay have to say about the penny?
Well,
What did you just say?
I got three here, so I'll put them up.
Good.
First one has, I don't know who sent this. If they don't sign it, I don't put your name on. I just copy and paste. Gas stations charge 9/10 of a cent. I haven't seen that coin yet. Good point. Moving right along, this is from none other than.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Okay.
I hate Donald Trump, John Curtis. So after giving the Nazi salute in Inauguration Day, Elon Musk is posting puns and Nazi-related jokes. Concerning this, the Trump administration, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Well, hey, John, no comment about Barack and Michelle? Come on now.
Moving along,
The last text in this battery is, so, is Jennifer Aniston lying, or is it fake news?
Really?
I got breakfast bet on it with Cliff.
Really? All right. So the FDA has put a ban on the use of red dye number 3 in food and in ingested drugs.
What took them so long?
I think it's a good idea.
But what took them so long? And why did they do it just before RFK Jr. was going to be voted on to be the head of Health and Human Services? I think they decided it was going to happen and they wanted the glory. And the pressure of the food manufacturers wasn't sufficient to keep it.
So, Cliff, I want to commend you for parking at the kitchen door. Thank you.
So, okay. So, inflation sped up in December. That wasn't very good. Consumer price index rose 2.9% from a year earlier. Did you feel the inflation, John?
Nope.
No.
I don't do a lot of shopping, Cliff.
Ah.
I know my wife, she has talked about it many times, as my favorite sister-in-law has. It's a lot more expensive to go food shopping. Thank God for demolysis.
How many sister-in-laws do you have, John?
I have a whole bunch, but I live with my,
You have.
my favorite one lives with us. We live together.
There needs to be a better way of putting it than that.
No, it's,
Not with Spouses Day being Sunday.
well, what do you think,
Are you and
Barack?
Barack Obama in the same boat?
Do you think Barack and Michelle will be showing up celebrating Spouses Day? How does one celebrate Spouses Day? Should we take a lead from Barack and Michelle?
Now, take.
Will Melania wear another hat like that?
Oh, was that not the best hat?
It was blue.
What did you think, Eileen? Did Melania look great in that outfit?
Yes, I thought she looked fabulous. But she's so beautiful. She's a model.
And those the spiked heels? Holy
Yes.
smoke! That
But I
must have
think
been.
she could wear a paper bag and still look incredible.
Well, that's probably true. So there was at the school committee meeting on the 15th, there was a long list of homeless students being transported to other schools. I know that that's a job.
I wasn't going to interrupt you, but since you're looking penny wise and pound foolish, that's from Jay.
Yeah. Jay may have some insight there. So, all those kids being transported by bus to other schools and other jurisdictions, that's a lot of money, isn't it, Eileen? Eileen picked a convenient time to
She might be getting the donuts.
be.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. I was doing something very serious. I was placing a donut order.
Okay. So what?
All right, go ahead. You repeat that.
So what about all those students who are being transported at the expense of the district to schools and other jurisdictions?
What town?
What town? Lowell.
From Lowell, but if they come and live in Lowell, then it's Lowell's responsibility to transport.
Yeah, if you're a homeless child from Worcester, Lowell has to get you back to Worcester for
Sorry.
school. Can you remember some of the towns, Eileen?
Say that again. Can I what?
Can you remember some of the towns we're sending kids to?
I don't. I know. I want to say there was a couple of them to Barica. When I get there, I'll look it up on the agenda page to be more exact. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, if they end up in Lowell just because they're placed there, then there's it becomes Lowell's responsibility to send that child to, whether it be Waltham or Lexington. It could be as far away as Boston. Some of the Boston, I've seen it so far as Boston, but you'd think that the government would streamline it better so that those, or whoever places the families that in Lowell, like they're saying, okay, what can we do to help the city and make sure maybe they get kids that are going to maybe Barica or Bedford, so it's not as taxing on the city or stressful to transportation.
Now, Cliff, on a side note, this communication is for Jay. If you take away the penny, Jay might not have anything to pinch. A good way to put it. For Lowell, this does not surprise me in Lowell. In Lowell, we hire our friends. What's the right thing to do here? The kids in 01854. That's where the kiddo resides. That's where the kiddo's putting her head down on a pillow every night. And
this has got nothing to do with hiring your friends. This is a state rule.
And she says, yeah, but I'm from Boston. I want to go to school in Boston. Well, my late brother Joe would always say, people in hell want ice water. So in Lowell, where we can hire our friends, hey, I can hire my sister to drive this kid to school every day.
John, it's not a Lowell rule.
That's what we're going to do.
But it's not a Lowell rule. It's a state rule.
Stupid.
It could be stupid, but...
Stupid. And when they make these rules, does any one of these, whether it's a federal, okay, Lori Trahan, let's pick on Lori Trahan, because she's going to get picked on big time this week about Corey Robinson. And so it's going to be interesting to see how she skedaddles away from this here.
Wait,
When they made this federal rule that we have to
how
bust
did you
this,
bring Corey Robinson into this?
it's a big issue going on in Lowell. Maybe you haven't been paying attention.
What's that have to do with Lori Trahan?
He outed her.
He what?
He outed her about his issue.
He outed her on what?
Yeah, he had an interview on Teddy Panos' thing there.
Oh yeah, I saw it. He breaks his silence. Well, I didn't see it at all. But
So I talked
what
to
did he
him.
say on it?
I talked to him on text yesterday. Well, he sent it to me on text and say, what are your thoughts? So I made time to watch it yesterday, and I didn't watch it. You can watch it, but it's just like this talk show. You don't have to look at us. You can hear us. So I listened to the whole thing, and he gave a lot of explaining, but he gave Lori Trahan, he sat her right down and waggled his finger at her. So it's I think it's 45 minutes long, and I told him he should consider a 3-minute job. Nobody's going to sit there and listen for 45 minutes, except for people like us. But the average Jane and Joe's not going to listen to 45 minutes of an explanation from anybody.
That's on my list of things to do this weekend, is to watch that.
Well, I'll ask you on Monday, and I bet you don't find time. Going back over to Cliff.
So,
Are you going to watch it, Cliff?
yeah, I'll try and find it. Send me the link.
Try.
Send me the link.
Just go on YouTube, Cliff, and it will pop up. If don't you subscribe?
No.
You don't subscribe to Inside Lowell on YouTube?
No.
Oh,
That's just the
Okay.
insiders do that.
So,
Eileen, what we should do is start a YouTube of like the column used to be.
like the what used to be?
The column.
Oh.
It used to be
I
on
like
YouTube?
No, the column.
Yeah, let's
used to
talk
be
about that.
Juicy.
I'm game.
Used to be juicy. The column was juicy.
The Lowell column.
In the Lowell Sun, yeah.
Well, you can complain to the author.
Well, it used to be a lot more
And-
juicy. Well, actually, I could look at. I'm going to ask Melanie. Can you bring juicy back?
Oh yeah, that's a great point.
And
We
also-
have everything we need, and then we'll get letters from Cliff complaining about us all the time.
Corey Robinson waggled the finger at the Lowell Sun, and David Robeson from Tingsboro waggled his finger at the Lowell Sun on YouTube. So interesting to see how this is coming along.
So Eileen, how did the
So,
school
Cliff.
meeting go?
How did the what go?
School committee meeting go?
Last week, I thought it was very busy. There was a lot of motion responses. We talked about lots. I thought we covered this last Friday. It's been like almost. I have to get motions in today for next week's meeting. So when I have to go back, I have to look at the agenda. My brain, it's so much happens, like just in my day-to-day life that, like my pipes froze, Cliff. When my pipes froze, my brain froze.
You know, I was thinking about your pipe freezing and thinking about how lucky I was, and then it turned out the pipe in our dishwasher froze. So we had to thaw that out. You finally got your pipes thawed out?
Yeah, as soon as I actually put it on Facebook and people were replying, I went to reply, thank you. And all of a sudden, I was upstairs. I stayed upstairs because in case it started. All of a sudden, I heard the water come back on. It took about 2 hours. I exposed all the pipes in the bathtub, and I put like a space heater that my mother uses because she's always cold. I brought it upstairs. My poor mother's like, do you have anything else that gives off heat? I was like, not right now, Mom.
So, yes, this is a time when we need to be paying attention to frozen pipes. And,
Yes.
that sound you hear in the background tells us that the show is almost over and we're going to go to a break. And that all depends on the producer.
All right, and Eileen's here. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay, thanks.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, Cliff?
Pretty good. Yourself?
It's just
We're
you
gonna
and
go to
me?
break, Lan.
No, Eileen will be here in a second.
Thanks.
did I say happy 2025 to you? I
No,
don't think I did.
turn your mic on, Eileen.
You weren't.
Eileen, turn your mic on.
Is mine
Good
on?
morning, everyone. Welcome to the City Life Show. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. Mikeless is Eileen Delrossi, and she's my co-host. How are you, Eileen?
What did you just say?
Mikeless. Your mic, turn your mic on.
There you go.
Yeah, and then we have as our guest Melanie Gilbert, and we have the producer, John McDonough.
The wizard behind the scenes.
So, weather
Wizard, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
the wizard.
weather was 14 when I drove in. What was it when you drove in, Eileen?
I didn't even look.
My
I
car
was
said
focused on
17.
donuts.
Oh, it's
17.
warmed up.
Yeah. So I shed the outer coat because
Yeah.
I thought anything above 15 is, balmy.
So,
Lately.
Melanie,
this
tell
week.
the audience about the weather in your mind as opposed to the forecast.
Well, I got into this because I did that story about kids on the playground and recess and wanting to know, it was like a really good question. What's the metric for when kids don't play outside? Like, is
Right.
there a standard? So I started asking around, and some parent had emailed me and said they dropped off their child, and it was like, I think it was 28 degrees, which, it's below freezing, but it was a good question.
Yeah.
So I
Wait,
asked
why
the-
didn't you ask me?
What's your metric, Cliff? When is it too cold to be outside?
When it's 40 below,
Yeah.
children have the option of not going to school.
Oh, I think people would love that option. We'll have to write that into the school committee.
That's what my son was saying after we had the storm Sunday into Monday. He says, Mom, do you think we won't have school on Tuesday? I'm like, no
Yeah,
chance.
no such luck. The storm came a day too early, because you were off on Monday, right?
Martin
Yeah.
Luther King Day, yes. And then he was hoping that the temperatures dipped low enough that they would cancel school. Like, there's always a hope in the kids'
I don't
mind.
think that's ever happened, has it? The coldest I
Here,
remember
yeah.
was living in Washington DC, and it was like 15 below. And I am telling you, I took off my glove to put the key in the lock, and it's like my hand froze to the key. It was crazy. I mean, it was crazy. If you've lived it, you know. And that was only 15 below, but you really do freeze on contact. Like, you can't touch anything metal. Like, just touching that key,
The-
which had been in my pocket.
Melanie, this question's from the audience to you. Good morning, Melanie. As a child growing up in the upper part of the country, has she ever experienced cold temperatures before like this? That's from Jay.
Yes, and good morning. Yes, I mean, that was like that was the daily up
Yeah.
in the Midwest. I mean, I think, we walked to school, middle school, which was about 2 miles away, and I remember being frozen by the time I got to school. In those schools, they had the heaters built into the wall, those
Yeah.
radiators were, and I would just like stand there and warm up. But this is, so 17 degrees, so the real temperature, they say it's 30 degrees, but it feels like 21.
Yep.
And so, well, who determines the feels like temperature? And that's what we were talking about before you got here is why are we even talking about the real temperature if it's the feels like temperature that matters? Like just say it's 21 degrees out there. It would,
Yeah,
like
no.
it was just kind of brought up this whole conversation. So the deal with the school system is that I believe when it's 20 degrees or lower, they stay in. They come inside. If it feels like 20 degrees, so it might be 30, but with the wind chill, it feels like. So I don't know who
It's the feels
determines
like?
that. Yeah, it's a feels like
So,
temperature.
I know
you know it's
Ollie-
cold if you can take a cup of coffee and walk outside and toss it up in the air and it freezes
I love those
before
videos.
it hits the ground.
I want it to be cold enough that I can do that. So I can do that. Right more, so to Jay's question, I don't have coffee in here, I have ice water. So Jay, if that answers your question, I'm tough. I didn't wear an overcoat today, I just wore a sleeveless. So I feel like today with no wind, it's gonna be sunny, it's bearable.
Yeah.
It
And they
works.
said it may get just to the freezing point, which is 32.
Oh, it might get up in temperature. All right, so
Yeah.
that's another 17, almost 17 degrees.
So this is a repeat from the first hour, but in the middle of the week, I ran into Marie Sweeney, who had
Oh, Marie Sweeney from
had-
CTI, right? That Marie Sweeney, very active in CTI.
And glad.
Oh, and GLAD as well? Oh,
yeah,
We discussed this.
former school teacher. Anyway, Marie's
I can't get it in my car.
Marie's my age. She fell and broke a couple bones
Oh, my
and
goodness.
had to be in rehab for a while.
I didn't know
But
that,
I saw her
Marie.
out. She had her cane and she was walking. She was out with her husband. I saw her at White Dove Pantry there in Tewksbury. So I
Tewksbury.
was very pleased to see her because I hadn't seen her in
Yeah,
Mass in
well-
a couple of months.
Good wishes to Marie. I did not know that.
While we got Melanie here, now, President Bush knows about media. They're shooting with video camera. They don't use still shots anymore. They use video. And it shoots at 400 frames per second.
Wow.
So, you know when you pick your nose or whatever you do, they're going to capture this. And I'm telling you, that picture's not going away. They're going to show that forever about Bush.
So what you're saying is you can have a split-second reaction and they'll get it?
Yes.
Is that the case?
400 frames a second, that's what
Yeah.
they do.
Oh, yeah. Well,
do.
you know, that sort of capsulizes George Bush. My niece was a reporter down in Texas, and he came through, and she caught him in the hallway, and just got some, like, random, he just said, she asked him a question, he said, yes, but he didn't just say yes, he said, yes, darling.
Yes,
This is an old slide of Lowell candidates running for election. And you can tell the person who did this slide doesn't like city councilors. I mean, look at Corey Belanger. Don't you think they could have had a nicer picture of Vesna, Marty Laurie,
Well, you know,
Jeff Thomas?
I don't know what kind of
Look
equipment
at poor Rita,
Yeah, well, yeah, that's not,
and look at Danny.
They all
Danny
have their-
Rook, it's terrible.
yeah.
And Marty Laurie, they got him twice.
I don't know, you know.
400 frames a second. They choose what they're going to present.
What year was that, John?
I don't know, but I kept
Gotta
it
be 20
because
years ago, right?
it's a reminder of 400 frames per second. They choose the shot they're going to use on you.
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting story about how we didn't choose a shot. That John Engler, who was the governor of Michigan, and he was a rather rotund, is that the word? Big guy. And he was
Rotunda.
he was a large man, large-framed, large-bodied man, and he was at a breakfast that was being covered by the press. And he went up, speaking of donuts, he went up to the donut table and he grabbed 2 donuts. And he had 2 donuts in his hand, and he was eating one, and he had the backup ready to go. And a photographer caught a picture of that, but that was not included. So that was back in the day when we used a little bit more discretion. Like, it was a legit shot. He was in a public space, it wasn't, but it seemed provocative. Like,
Yes.
it seemed as if we were not goading, because the action was already in progress, but shaming. So if that's your point, John, I agree. If they have like a whole bunch of other photos to pick, and those are the ones they pick with their mouths wide open or looking like clowns, then it seems a little, I'd love to see what the other photos were. When it comes to me, I only use my iPhone, which is like an iPhone 9 or something cuckoo, so I don't get a lot of shots.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that rapid shutter, so I have to really plan my shots.
Melanie, this is from the audience.
Ignore the audience.
What's your take on Barack and Jennifer Aniston?
Who's Jennifer?
Jennifer Aniston.
Oh,
The
man, I'm
woman?
behind. What's going?
Just leave this topic
Is this
alone.
column? Is this column stuff?
Yeah,
This
because
is gossip.
the big rumor is
This is
Barack,
gossip.
This is where I'm out of
Let's
the
talk about a serious issue.
Barack and Michelle
Did you
broke up.
hear about the Democratic side of Capitol Hill going on lockdown after Kristi Noem was up testifying and she referred to some Democrat as a yellow dog?
Well, this is what we're talking about. We've talked about this in the past
yellow
couple.
dogs are nice.
Like
Well, I don't even really know
Old
what that
yellow.
means. What is that supposed to mean?
Yellow dog?
Yeah.
That,
Like you're a traitor?
no, it's a term. There's blue dog Democrats and yellow dog Democrats. Yellow dogs
Oh, I know blue
they'd
dog.
vote for a yellow dog if it was on the Democratic column. A
Oh,
a
that's
yeller
clever.
dog.
I don't normally think of Kristi Noem as clever, but that's clever. Huh. Well, I think everybody's nerves are frayed and they're all like, super sensitive and, can't take a joke. But it is,
I think it went over everyone's head.
Usually it does with
oh
you.
no, so then what? Talk to me.
The Democratic side of Capitol Hill went on lockdown
For what?
For
Because
name
Kristi Noem referred to some Democrat as a yellow dog.
And what does a yellow dog mean in political terms?
It means a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat who would vote for a yellow dog if it was in the Democratic
So
column.
they have no compass, like no.
Yeah, no
North
compass.
Star. They'll do anything.
Yeah.
Well,
But the whole reference was to Kristi Noem
Yeah, right.
killing her dog.
Oh, that's right. Okay, now I gotcha.
All right.
So they thought she was going to leap across the podium or
Yeah.
kill them like she killed her
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
How'd she kill her dog?
She
With a,
gun. She
With
shot
a
him and
handgun?
threw him in a pit.
Wait, and she's.
Let's go have a hamburger at Wendy's. Will Melanie participate in karaoke's on Friday?
What's karaoke Friday?
Cliff will explain.
Man, this is like I'm
The first hour,
this morning.
you were driving. First hour.
Jennifer
give me a
Brock.
shot, give me a shot.
Oh, this is actually in a pretty good key. I usually don't like church songs because they're in high C, which was
Yeah.
the old church, like when they did Latin. And to transpose music is really hard. It's complicated. Well, they could do it. They've had 400 years,
Yeah.
but they haven't. And so middle C would be so much better for people. And I would argue that, what do you call it, non-denominational churches, not Baptist, not Pentecostal, but sort of that, they're not
Prot no
part.
pref.
Yeah, they're not part of a synod or
Yeah.
they're independent. And they put their hymns up on big screens and they have guitars and bands and the whole thing. I've been to a couple of those churches and they don't follow the sacraments. Like you don't go up and have communion. They might do baptisms in their bathtub, those big
Yeah.
jacuzzis type of thing. But no, I mean, seriously, they're like,
Yeah.
but they're like built into the side of the church. So it's super interesting. In the winter, they do that. In the summer, they might go down to Castle Island or whatever. But the thing that I did like about those churches, the hymns were in middle C, man. And I'm a middle C girl. I can't hit that. I'm not a soprano. I think most of Americans don't sing high C.
In grammar school, we had to.
You're stalling.
Sang something.
Go for it.
So mine eyes have seen the the glory? I thought the glory of the coming of the
Yeah.
Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosened the faithful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on.
She should be in the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Oh, I drove past that this morning. We have one in Belmont. It was all lit up. It was gorgeous. Of all the mornings I've come, I've never seen it lit up like that. So maybe they paid their electric. I'm joking.
They knew you were going to sing.
But this is a middle C hymn. This is why this hymn is so popular.
So look
I
at,
thought it was great at the inauguration when the,
Eileen, I want to thank you for my coconut-covered cream-filled donut
Yeah.
from Top Donut. It is the best donut
Oh, is
on the
this Top
planet.
Donut?
Hot donut.
I'm sorry for
Coconut-
talking while you're interrupting.
Coconut-covered cream-filled. If you get over to Top Donut, this is the donut you want, baby.
He's doing his paid commercial.
Quite a surprise to your mouth.
All right, Cliff. So what were you surprised about with the?
No, I was just very pleased that the Naval Academy Glee Club sang that at the inauguration. I thought it was great.
I think all the military, if I had to do it over again, and that's part of my show and tell today, I did apply to the military and I scored like off the charts with the APSCAM or whatever they call that.
Yep.
In spatial, which was very unusual for a woman. I got like a 98. But at that time, I wanted to go into infantry.
And then you ended up working
And they wouldn't, and they wouldn't let me because women weren't allowed. So when we have these conversations about the defense secretary, I think we have come a long way. And to think about wanting to, it's not DEI, it's equal opportunity. And to think about rolling that stuff back, I think I would have made an excellent soldier. And I would have loved, if I had to do it all over again, I would love to go into the military. So that leads me, and so if I'd known they had glee clubs, because I played an instrument, I would have gone for the band or something. Like I think they do. In fact, I worked with a woman who paid for her college education because she spent 4 years in the Marine Corps band.
Ah,
Traveled the world. And I think they have different bands. Like there's a band that's for the White House. There's a band that's for public. Like there's different levels. And she was with the White House band. So she.
President's Own.
Yeah, President's Own. They're the ones who played the Hail to the Chief
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And the Star Spangled Banner. But
Do you know
anyway,
who the most famous member of the band was?
no, who?
John Philip Sousa.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's one of the things, if I were a recruiter for the military, I guess they hit their recruiting targets so far this year, or this past year, the past quarter.
Yeah,
Is that
past
I would,
quarter.
yeah, I would let people know, you don't have to, you might have to go through boot camp and basic training, but you don't have to go, there are a lot of ways to serve your country, and one of them might be playing the flute. One of them might be doing the drums. One of them might be the tuba in the Marine Corps band. And so my daughter, when she's still at Westfield State, in her freshman year, she signed up. She joined the Minuteman Battalion, the ROTC. And she had weekend maneuvers. And so they would get MREs, meals ready to eat.
Yes.
And they're these huge packs, and you have to pack them in your rucksack. So if you're going on a 3-day maneuver, you need 3 days worth of food, and they literally come in, a Friday night pack, a Saturday pack, and it's like, I don't know if you can see this, but this one's called Nut Raisin Mix, and that's packed up. I know, and then
Get rid of the graphics.
blackberry jam. And if you like lemonade, where's my camera?
Gotta go up a little bit there.
There you go. Well, it's really small. You can do
What is that you're holding?
lemonade. You can put that in your
Water?
your water. They even come with,
Can you put all the others back up one at a time?
oh, sure. So
That's an MRE, is Cliff would call it.
nut raisin mix.
MRE, I think Cliff
Yep.
would call it.
And this all comes in, and then you want to make yourself, they include, I didn't bring the bread, I think it might be in there, blackberry jam. You get a little, coffee creamer, if you're a coffee person, and they also do a coffee in there. They even put a little moist towelette. I mean, these packs, they have a,
How's this stuff taste?
you know what? Good question, John. So she brought home like 5 of them because I said she wasn't partial to the food. She's a super picky eater, so she would eat the bread and peanut butter, but she'd bring home everything else. And so peppermint candy rings. I mean, it's kind of nuts. Let me just go through it real quick. Energy bar, First Strike. Don't you love it? Nutritious energy bar. I mean, your fighting men and women are well fed. French vanilla cappuccino instant powder.
Ooh.
I know, and that's what you can put your creamer in. And then, this one cracked me up. Patriotic sugar cookies. And then this was the main meal, black beans. I mean, the packaging isn't anything. But so when my dad was alive, he would always want to hear Carla's stories about ROTC training. And so she would bring him an MRE, and we would have MRE for dinner. That was his, because, I would make him dinner every day. And then the chef was off because the U.S. government was in charge of feeding my dad because he served in the Army. And he said back in the day, the MREs were Spam in a can. There was no coffee. It was like chicory or root. He said bark root or something that they boiled down. Some crazy. I don't know if he was pulling my leg.
So Melanie, how do they taste?
You know what? I was surprised. The cookies taste a little stale, but the food, like the black bean, was, I've had that. That was actually pretty good. Now, we rolled it up in a burrito wrap, which didn't come with this pack, but it's, it's super salty. I'm not a big salt person, but it was palatable. I liked it.
You can get it also so that there's certain packs that have no ham,
Oh, interesting.
so
Okay.
that they could distribute them to
Muslims or,
Muslims,
right.
or
People who don't want ham.
Right.
Israelis.
So would you use the word tasty? Or is it not to the tasty level?
I wouldn't, it's a
It's
little,
acceptable but not tasty.
it's acceptable, but I wouldn't call, it's a little bland.
So you
know,
wouldn't
even
go
the
back to
cookies.
that restaurant. You wouldn't go back to that restaurant.
Well, I guess when you're in the field, anything tastes good.
Yes, and you're trying to make 1 million people happy.
Right, and what I loved, they even, couldn't find it, but they even packed little condiments, little Tabasco sauce bottles.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, little, and they had ketchup packets. I guess
During
Tabasco sauce.
Vietnam, I have a friend of mine that was a helicopter pilot. His helicopter crashed, spin
Oh.
crashed and burned. And he said 2 words. That sucks. The food.
When was that?
Vietnam.
Yeah, I think it's massively improved. Like my daughter, who's a picky eater, ate the food. She didn't eat all of it, but
Well,
she.
here's
ate-
a story for you, because it's near where you live. Natick.
Oh yeah.
Natick is the Army facility for doing research and development in this area.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'll leave some of this for you guys, and you can take, if you want patriotic sugar cookies, you can take them home. If you
When do
want.
they expire? Did it say on the back?
Oh,
when
my
they-
gosh, like 2032. Yeah, it's.
Oh,
a-
wow. That's why they're so salty too,
It's-
right?
yeah.
Because it has to preserve.
And it has to be temperature stable, so whether you're in 100-degree heat or, 40 below, it has to be food that, but when Carla would come home and she would bring her MREs, I mean, it was like a party. I don't know that I would love it every day, but she said people traded like crazy.
Really?
Yeah, so they open
Yeah.
up their MRE packs, which are almost this size, a little bit bigger, in a brown bag. It says
Which means
MRE.
meals ready to eat?
Meals
MRE?
ready to eat. And then someone say, oh, rats, I got French cappuccino instant powder.
Yeah.
And then they trade, or someone say, oh, I don't like sugar cookies, I like banana, pudding
Yeah.
or whatever they get. And so she said so the MREs aren't just food, they're socializing. Or someone would get the peppermint rings and they wanted the gum.
Are
Some packs-
MRE that are donuts?
Any MRE.
I don't think
I
so.
didn't find any. That's a really good question. No. And I found out too.
Donuts are the responsibility of the,
Yes. They look like snacks you would wash down with a beer on a golf course.
Well, we probably should open, that's a really funny observation, the nut and raisin mix. It says pan-coated chocolate discs. So, I was super impressed, actually. I thought, if there's an apocalypse, because we have like
Exactly.
leftovers now.
let's go back a little bit, though. You mentioned military bands.
Yep.
And serving your country by playing the flute. But the other thing military bands do is in battle, they're the stretcher bearers. So you get wounded, it's a couple of members of the military band are going to pull you out.
Oh, you're talking about strength or meeting?
No, their job.
Yeah.
It's the job, the military band people, their
Oh,
job
I didn't know
is
that.
to
Oh.
assist the medics by being stretcher
Oh,
bearers.
see, I would have been perfect then, because I'm a pretty husky girl. I can carry 2 times my own weight, so bring it.
So let's talk about, because we've had a week to reflect.
I'm just going to
Joe-
take a sip of my ice water.
What about Joe Biden's pardons? I mean, he pardoned his relatives. He pardoned Leonard Peltier. He
Right.
pardoned all sorts of people.
What did his relatives do? That was interesting to me, that he had so many relatives.
Well, he has 2 brothers, a sister, and there's 2 spouses there.
And
Well,
are
if
they,
you want me to vote for you, that'd give me a range if you give my brother some money.
Well, in general, I think
That's how it
pardons-
happen in
yeah,
politics.
I think
You
pardons.
hire my sister,
I think that's irrelevant.
but do you
Ruled
think
irrelevant
they did
by the
something,
host.
or did he just pardon them for the rest of their life if they do anything?
No,
They all
no,
did something.
From a date to that point.
Well, I
Like
didn't-
Fauci's from 2014, Fauci's not a relative, but from 2014 to the date of the pardon.
Well, I haven't done a deep dive into
Yeah.
pardon things because I'm fundamentally opposed to it, because I do think that pardons echo a king-like, an imperial structure. And I don't think pardons, are they written into the Constitution? Like, I don't think anybody should do that. I think that's a unilateral power that is inappropriate in a democracy.
Yeah.
So I don't really, I get the appeal, and it's like, you get a car, like Oprah, you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car, you get a pardon, you get a pardon. So I think it's bad form.
And
It's bad policy.
And it was interesting, I had heard that he did it when Trump, in the middle of Trump's inauguration, or in the middle of one of his speeches. And
No.
so
Like
like,
he signed stuff on the
no,
podium?
no, I'm giving false media
Fake news.
information.
Fake news.
Cliff ain't
Correct.
gonna like this text. This is from John Curtis. Maybe by the time I'm in the studio on February 3rd, we will have a formal announcement from the Obamas. Until then, it's unconfirmed wild rumors.
What?
I wonder if Curtis has this magazine. When Melania done to earn her U.S. What has Melania done? I don't know. Posing nude when she was a model. Look at John. If you have that Playboy, bring that in. We'd all like to get a gander at that, and we'll show it in the first
It's a
hour.
collector's edition now.
I think that what Melania has done is she endured a lot of disrespect on Trump's first term.
Look, I respect anybody who can speak a second language. I think that's pretty impressive.
I think she should be on the $25 bill. I think the presidential spouse should be on the 25.
Should be what?
Make a $25 bill, and the president's spouse.
Oh,
should
put them
be
on currency? Is that like proposed? I'm really
No,
behind that.
That's John.
Oh, that's a John McDonough.
If I'm king, when you make me king,
Oh, exactly. Well, if
my
you
wife Ellen will be on the 25.
if you float that idea, you might get a call from number 47. Mr. McDonough, come to Washington.
I'm waiting for them to do the Harriet Tubman on the 20, and I want the picture with her holding the pistol in her hand and her hand up here saying, follow me.
I was in favor of the Harriet Tubman. Why not? So that's what
Yeah.
we were talking about. So my daughter, at the end of your sophomore year, you have to declare
Yeah.
whether you're going to be the officer. I don't remember what
Yeah.
the term is. And she is holding off until she graduates so that when you're a senior, then you can sign up for officer training school. You basically have to go through all the training all over again in 8 weeks or something, whereas you can spread it out over 4 years.
Right.
And so she didn't commit at the end of her second year, and part of it was because the uniforms they gave the women didn't fit, and the boots that they had. Now that might be downstream negative impacts of an ROTC program that's not fully funded or appropriately.
What's she supposed to be holding, Cliff?
A
Tubman?
pistol in her hand.
All right, guys, I have
I
to
don't remember
actually
that.
go because I
that's
need
right,
to grab
7:30.
myself a coffee, and I forgot my top donut munchkins. I always bring them to work, and ever since the pipe froze, my brain froze.
So you got to skedaddle.
All right, you go. We'll see you next time. You want to take any Patriot candy rings?
No, I'm gonna let you.
No, take one for Anthony so he knows what's in store for him for the service.
That kid's not going to the service.
When he turns 18, he can do whatever he
Thanks for the
wants.
donut.
This is Massachusetts.
I'll leave the sugar cookies for you, Cliff.
Okay, thanks.
John, I'm leaving the peppermint
You're the best.
candy rings for you.
They'll be gone.
All right.
They'll be gone.
So, Melanie, is there no joy left in life? The toy store is going
I
away?
know.
What's that all about?
Well, I read my own paper, of course,
Yeah.
online, and shocking, I know.
Yeah.
And I saw the banner headline that said, Rogers Toy Store going out of business. And I had just been in there, just the toy store end of it, not the pool or anything like that.
I lived there in the summer.
Yeah, the business isn't closing, just the toy aspect. And I had been in there a couple months earlier and bought toys. And because somebody had told me about Rogers Toy Store. And the toys aren't in the front of the store. Well, they are now because he's
Yeah.
trying to sell them. But they were all the way in the back of the store, so who knew? Even though it says Rogers Toy Store on the outside.
Yeah.
But,
I knew.
well, but you look at the window and it's all
Yeah.
pool supplies. So I thought, well, that's sort of like one of those weird little Lowell throwbacks. But he said there's not enough business.
Rogers.
That's
And
amazing.
part of it is because, this is another
Not
interesting
attending.
facet, he's a one-off guy, so he can't
I
buy
want to see it. Bye.
the minimum to make it worthwhile for him to pass the savings on to the customer. So when he buys piecemeal, he's going to have to charge a higher,
Yeah.
people don't want to pay, essentially, that's what he was saying, is that he can't do the minimum buys of $500,000 to $100,000 to get toys. Probably doesn't even carry that much inventory. So he has to buy through distributors who sell at a higher rate because they're carrying lower, they don't
Yeah.
he doesn't have economies of scale. So it's unfortunate because, I was walking those aisles, those are the Viewmaster.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. So it's all 50% off.
But there's no toy store
No.
around, is there?
Well, there's that Target off of, there's department stores. There's no toy
Department
store.
stores, yeah.
I think you're right. What you're seeing,
Yeah.
is that what you're talking about, Cliff?
Yeah, which tub do you
No,
want?
that wasn't the picture.
And she's in a movie.
She's a fierce lady, man.
Yeah.
I think she should have been on the $20, was it $20 bill? I
As
don't have a
opposed
problem
to
with that.
Jackson.
See, there she is.
Yeah,
on money.
there it is. You see
The money?
with the pistol
Oh, I
in
think
the
they're trying to
hand.
make her look gangster. Yeah, that's it.
No, I think
Yeah.
it makes it look like
Don't mess with
she's
me.
leading the people.
Don't mess with me. I'm here and I mean business. That's a
Yeah.
good picture.
That's the picture I like.
Well, that would be two things. We'd have a black person on the currency, number one, and number two, we'd have,
A woman.
well, an action figure on the
Yeah.
currency. They're all these portraits, so it's not really.
Question from the audience. Was evidence destroyed from January 6th commission?
Yeah. Yeah, moving
You say
on.
yes. Okay, thank you. What do you think, Melanie?
You know what? That whole thing is such a hot mess. I do know that,
So you don't know.
well, haven't reported on it, but I only know what I've read. And I think there was even evidence destroyed in the midst of the riot. So there was all sorts of shenanigans going on. I'm against those pardons. I think the judicial system spoke. People should pay their debt to society and then go and sin no more.
Well, would you, on the day that Jesus was condemned, would you be standing on the podium next to Jesus? Or would you be there in the crowd saying, crucify him?
I don't think I'd be in the crowd. I mean, I don't know what the equivalency
So
there
what would
is.
you write about that? If you witnessed that and you had to write it for the Roman Times, what would you write about that?
So are you suggesting that Trump was crucified? And so
No,
they
no,
were,
I'm talking about Christ. What would you report on? The crowd, he was not guilty of anything. The crowd wanted him crucified. So would you please your readers?
well, who knows? That crowd may have been J6 kind of provocateurs. So, provocateurs?
Provocateurs.
My
Yeah.
question,
Yeah,
Melanie,
am I
is
saying the French version?
how would you write about it?
Provocateurs.
Provocateurs, thank you. Well, I'd report on what I'm seeing. And, this is.
You
this,
saw an innocent man be condemned to death by a crowd.
well,
That's what I saw.
This is where, super interesting, John, is where you're equating independent action against societal action. So if he was tried, even if it was a kangaroo court, we weren't there, but allegedly a kangaroo court, tried and sentenced to death, like so many others, including two men next to him on the Hill, then you have to make a decision. Are you going to go against the prevailing doctrine and the prevailing legal structure that has been implemented? Then, and I'm not against, go ahead, protest. But then, if you're on the losing side of that protest, you have to take your castor oil, so to speak. You have to take your lumps. And they want to be on the losing side and take action that was contrary to our laws of this nation and contrary to a lot of societal boundaries, and they got sanctioned, and now they want that all to go. I mean, I think if you want to protest and you want to do your counterculture or whatever actions, bring it. That's free speech.
Maybe it is time
But-
we change the president's right to be able to pardon anybody, because I'm told of the 2,500 that President Biden excused, many of them were drug dealers.
Marijuana possessions, yeah, that is now legal. So I
Well,
kind of,
that's what you read, but I'm not
Well,
going to take the time to look at 2,500
and
cases.
maybe he didn't either. I mean, for all we know. So I just think the pardon is an abuse. Personally, I think the pardon power is an abuse of power.
Okay, so
So what were you talking about though, Cliff?
I
We
did
always
want to
get
mention
sidetracked
Michael
from-
Byrd got a pardon.
Who's that?
He's the one that shot and killed Ashley Babbitt.
Oh, he got a preemptive pardon?
Yeah,
He's one of the preemptive pardons? Oh.
yeah, he was the Capitol Hill police
So
officer.
Trump pardoned him?
No, Joseph
Biden.
R. Biden,
Well, that's sort of sad commentary that you have to preemptively pardon people
yeah.
because they're doing their job, so I don't know, that's...
So,
I think pardoning particularly the J6 rioters who attacked police is unpardonable. I'm surprised he went there. I would love, I said to our crime reporter, Aaron Curtis, you should call around to Chief Hooten and Roy Frost, you know, the Billerica Police Chief, and the Drake Police Chief, and ask them, they probably won't comment, but ask them what they think about that. You know, can you imagine? I mean, I think it becomes like open season on police.
Question from the audience. What will we learn from the declassification of JFK, RFK, and MLK killings?
I think that's super interesting that he wants to declassify that. I think I'm in favor of that. Like, why not?
I
don't
agree.
know
What
why
happened
you
to the UFOs? Remember the UFOs we had over in New Jersey?
Oh, the
Donald, what were they? Tell us.
drones. Yeah,
Tell
it makes
us.
you think if the UFOs people saw all those years ago were drones, high-tech drones that people were either home kidding or the U.S. military was.
Cliff will likely not
rolling out.
comment, but the rumor mill from New Jersey undertakers was nuclear uranium or whatever was lost, and that's what the drones were looking for.
Oh, they had
They're
that sort of
stolen-
capability to.
Stolen or lost, and that's what they were looking for. That's
Oh,
what-
wow.
Did you hear anything along those lines, Cliff?
Uranium, that's pretty serious.
That's
From all the spy
possible.
shows I watch, that's serious. You can make nuclear bombs with uranium, can't you?
Yeah.
You can create fusion or fission or whatever it's called.
Probably the big thing is to make a dirty bomb.
Oh, right, it doesn't have to be super effective,
Yeah.
it just has to be dirty.
No.
Well, you know, with the MLK and the JFK, I mean, I think we all know MLK was killed by Arthur, what was his last name? I can't remember. It's just whether he had like white supremacist backing to do it. So maybe the FBI files will reveal that, which I think he probably did. With JFK, the strangest and most bizarre, but sort of like weirdly credible conspiracy theory I heard is that a Secret Service agent shot him by accident when he was running, when he jumped off the car with his gun and he had it cocked and loaded, and that's the bullet that blew his head off, which I thought, wow, you know, I mean, I love going
Wait,
down there.
that's not that weird.
I know,
Because
back in those-
remember the Kingfisher, Huey Long,
Right?
some guy tried to assassinate him, and it turned out one of his guards was the one who killed Huey Long.
Yeah.
Not the guy that was trying to assassinate him.
And I heard that rumor. I mean, you hear lots of rumors when you work in the government. And I heard that rumor back when I worked in the government. And, you know, I'd never come across a conspiracy theory like that before. And I thought, wow, that's kind of interesting. And
Yeah.
I would keep those files
I'm going to
closed
grab
too.
3 minutes. I'm going to grab 3 minutes here with Melanie. Melanie, what would it take to make the column juicy?
Oh, here we go, John.
No, I'm asking.
I don't
you.
know. I
You're
guess-
a big shot at the Lowell Sun. You write the column. Why can't it be more?
Yes, but I keep it more
juicy?
highbrow. I don't know how to
Oh,
make
give
it
me that.
juicy. I don't know that I have
No,
that.
juiciness. Juicy.
Well, do you have anything juicy to tell me, John? And I'll put it in
You
the column.
should make time to watch Corey Robinson's interview on Lowell, not Lowell Live Feed, whatever. It's Teddy Panos' thing. I forget.
Oh, Inside Lowell.
It's 45 minutes long. Very, very, very interesting. Sexto to Jesus. You should make time to what's going on in his life.
Oh, the new city councilor candidate?
Yes.
Well, I don't know that he's filed his papers, but he filed his paperwork with the
But he
state.
deserves a phone call.
raise
Got
the
some
money.
juiciness going on there. And I think you guys should wade in the waters of, is Kamala Harris really kicking her husband out of the house? Is Kamala really mad at him?
Oh,
because
well, we
she
don't do
lost?
that.
That's
national
not a
stuff.
Lowell issue.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, that you're asking me to like delve into people's dirty laundry when you were the one, John, who like said to me that people do one dumb thing in their life.
Yep.
And it's blown up for the whole world to see. And, and we had mentioned Bob, how do you say his last name?
Hoey.
Hoey. You know,
Who did not mean a bit of malice when he said, I was watching it, he was just frustrated, he could not remember the name.
I hear
And he
you.
reverted 30 years, 50 years.
But to bring those 30 years into the present, you know, I mean, I don't think the guy needs to be stoned and shamed, but I don't know that he should be in the school committee. I mean, I think that was an appropriate, he should have just stepped down without it being told.
He was
And
quoting school committee members.
I know, but you know, in the old
So
days, you
should
didn't have to be shamed,
should
you
those
were
school
shamed.
So should those school committee
You
members
just-
resign?
You just took yourself out. But, you know, I feel the column, it's inappropriate for me to be on both sides of that fence, like to be a reporter, but then to be a page 6 head of hopper. I mean, I think that's sort of a
That was
conflict.
before his time.
Oh, head of hopper. Who's another one? Who's another gossip?
They want juicy. We want juicy. That's what we want.
Man,
juicy.
I don't have juicy. I don't traffic in that trade, but you know, I would run juicy if I felt like Corey Robinson's trial, well, it wasn't a trial. I felt his cases were juicy. Those
I
court
thought
files
so.
were full of juicy
Well,
information.
you should listen to his interview, and you're chastised in it.
Oh, no doubt.
He
He loves,
chastises Lori Trahan.
yeah, he loves,
And
he loves
rightfully
throwing
so,
shade,
from,
yeah.
From
But-
his book, and from his end, rightfully so.
Yeah, well, he had a chance to tell his story in court, and, you know, he didn't have to because the prosecutor failed to prosecute, and, because they didn't bring a witness into court, so, you know, it's, honestly, I'm glad that case is over. I think I wrote like 20 stories on that. I pretty much, when I find a story, I stay with it. And,
Is his phone going bananas?
You wanted 3 minutes.
Okay, well,
I'm not gonna come
she's the
between.
one talking. Please continue.
well, because I think it's time to focus on, we're coming up to a tough budget season. You know, if Trump is pausing federal allocations, you know, if they're not encumbered, it means we don't have the money. We can get an allocation. It's like you're
Yeah.
guaranteed a paycheck, but until that money's in your bank account, it's only an allocation. Until it hits your bank account, it's not an encumbrance. So I think we've got to really buckle up and, you know, batten down, because it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough sledding going forward. All right, John, what's your other?
Absolutely no proof that January 6th committee destroyed any evidence or documents. MLK was assassinated by James Earl Ray. The JFK rumor of the limousine driver doing the shooting is laughable. It was reflective from the sunlight that made it appear that way.
Oh, I love your
Wait.
viewers, John. They
There
really.
is Nancy Pelosi's daughter with regard to
You think
this.
she killed JFK?
No, but she provided information that the committee covered up.
Next comment, we almost had an assassination of President Trump. Will we ever get the truth about
I
that?
agree. What the
No.
heck happened there?
No.
Like, right? There's no. What
Back
do you
over
like?
you,
Commission?
Yeah.
His ear is
Thank you for the
perfectly
3
fine.
minutes.
I don't. That whole thing makes no bloody sense to me. 2 people are dead. 3 people with the gunman, and hundreds more were traumatized. And it was an assault on democracy. Whether it was whatever happened there, it should have been investigated. I don't.
Yeah,
that whole
I
thing makes
agree.
no sense to me.
Nobody
Okay,
got
did
fired.
you bring up-
Anybody get fired?
No. Did,
Wait. Did
yeah,
what?
yeah, the head of the Secret Service got replaced.
Yes.
Did you bring up Elon Musk?
Me? No.
Yeah, somebody brought up Elon Musk and accused him of having done a Nazi salute, and I saw
Yeah.
that in the media. But yet, I see in the media people are talking about the president possibly violating posse comitatus. But nowhere in the media do I hear people talk about the roots of posse comitatus,
Wasn't it the Civil War?
Reconstruction.
Reconstruction. Right.
It was part of a deal that was made. So,
This is the quote. I backed it up a little bit. So after giving the Nazi salute on Inauguration Day, Elon Musk is posting puns and Nazi-related jokes, and then he goes on. He doesn't like Trump either, so he's very democratically leaning, but he says he's on a roll. John Curtis, he's coming, I think, next Friday.
so posse comitatus was passed by Congress as a deal with the South to prevent federal forces from enforcing civil rights. So up until that point, you have blacks
That's right.
in state legislatures in the South. After that, you get 100 years of
Right,
Jim Crow.
right.
And nobody brings that up, and I think that that's negligence on the part of the media. Just,
Well, they probably thought that was DEI at the time, to give blacks the right to vote and give them, God forbid, you're going to give them a seat in the halls of power. That's, unfair. But I think, I agree with who was the previous comment?
Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk,
Yeah.
yeah. And thank you to your viewer for James Earl Ray.
Yeah.
With the MLK murder. But I think there's no grown-ups. Like, this is what we've been talking about in
yeah.
the past, is that you didn't sit there in mixed company or in public company and do stupid stuff like crossing your arms so that you're showing the middle finger. Like, everybody knows that, and nobody seems to know that stuff anymore. Is that it's just, I think, to be a provocateur, to be provocative, just for sport or for entertainment is inappropriate and immature. And I think Elon Musk is a clown in his behavior. And I think we shouldn't laugh, and we should scold him. Not that he cares, because, he can do, there are no...
But was he meaning to give him a Nazi salute,
Well,
or
I
was he
think when
just...
you do the chest thumping and then do that, you're kind of mimicking a Hollywood gladiator,
But a lot of-
Nazi kind of thing.
I
And-
see that being done by other people
Well, I think
as a
he's...
sign of I love you.
Yeah, I think he's I saw in the paper some of his jokes about the Holocaust, and I think it's inappropriate. I
Yeah.
don't think you should
We
joke
should
about
not
that.
be joking
And
about
we
the
shouldn't be
Holocaust.
laughing, and we shouldn't be escalating, and we shouldn't be reposting and say, oh, look what a bad dude he is, because we're amplifying that bad dude message.
Plus, another great show with Cliff.
Cliff at the wheel,
Happy weekend.
Thank you.
despite John trying to run him off the road.
Yeah. John, remember those two slides you had up with the votes
Yes.
from November? I'd just like to give Melanie a chance to comment on this if she wants to, because
You know I do. That's
Yeah.
why you put him up. Go ahead, give it to me.
I gotta find his thing, because I sent him this yesterday, and he refused to put on the agenda.
Oh, is this
moving
what you-
right along, John.
Viral, wait, viral
Right
social
here.
media?
Well,
So
this-
what is that? Oh, that's what you're, oh, it's Jennifer Aniston and Barack Obama, what?
They're a couple.
Are they?
Oh, they're dating? For real? Come on, is that true?
No.
Yeah,
That's the gossip
this
today.
is clickbait.
That's the gossip.
This
Moving
is-
right along, John.
These are
clickbait.
the,
Come
here are
down
your
to-
slides, Cliff.
Come down to,
This guy.
yeah,
Okay.
blow that up just a little bit. I mean, we look at Joe Biden, he did wonderfully in 2020.
Yeah,
And we look at Kamala Harris, I mean, she's what, 3 million votes off? Her vote count is better than Trump in 2020. But Trump beats her. But my question is, yeah, this reflects the fact that people were unhappy with the Biden administration and thought, yeah, they had been better off under Trump. So they turned out and they voted for him. But where did those 3 million voters go? Why did they? COVID in 2020, it was harder to vote. It was easier to vote in 2024.
maybe they died. I don't know. Didn't
Did
COVID kill
did they
like
all die?
2
They
million
didn't
people?
exist. Those were fake voters that got counted.
Yeah, I don't know, but I do think that Biden didn't make a promise, but he said he was going to be a one-term president. And I
Yeah.
think people remembered that. I think,
First I'm hearing of this. First I'm hearing of this is that Joe Biden said it's going to be a one-termer.
when he first ran, he said he was going to be not an
And then he
incumbent.
turned into Marty
Transitional
Man.
president.
Right, he was going to be a
He turned into-
transitional president.
Turned into Marty Man. They're begging me to run.
Yeah, right. And I think there might have been, I'm not saying that accounts for 3 million votes, but I think there might have been people who thought, dude, the reason we voted for you was to be that transitional president.
You want another slide, Cliff? Are you good?
And
No,
we didn't-
this is good. But yet they voted for Harris in more numbers than they voted for Trump in 2020.
Well,
But yet it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I don't think he had a huge mandate. I do think, the House is close, the Senate is close.
Yeah.
They voted for him. They didn't vote for the party.
I
Which is
think
what
that's
the
right.
Republicans are figuring out, is that
Yeah.
it's his party because it's him. And he is a
Well,
larger-than-life
It's actually,
personality.
it's the Tea Party, and they adopted him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so,
Yeah, let's look at the next slide, John.
all right, what's the next one?
Just Massachusetts.
Popular vote, okay.
But it shows that even in true blue Massachusetts,
Yeah, that was the most interesting statistic. I think you're right, that even here,
Trump went up.
and Biden went down.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what we talked about last year after the election, is that the votes were close, like, oh, gosh, I'm forgetting her name. She ran, of course, Ed Kennedy stomped his...
Colin Miller?
He stomped his competition,
Yeah.
but in Pepperell, Scarsdale, that was a very close vote. So she's the Democrat, and I can't remember who, somebody was running against her, and it was a pretty close contest. So I think that speaks to your
Yeah.
point, is that people are switching their allegiances.
So,
They're not voting by party
Yeah.
anymore. And I don't think Kamala Harris had a big enough personality to compete against. And I'm not saying she had to throw it down or make stupid
The
comments.
Melanie fan club, great show as usual. Really enjoyed Melanie on
Well,
the show.
thank you. I love being here, and I hope that shows. So these are,
Yeah.
John and Cliff are great guys, and we're a good combination.
I'll
Even
be
for this
happy.
early in the morning.
For my treat that you brought me, thank you.
What's that?
I'll be happy for my treat that you
There
brought
you
me.
go. I mean, courtesy of the U.S. government. I was happy to see that our men and women in uniform are taken care of in the food department.
bird
Like, they're
flu.
not,
So Cliff, it's Friday. Got the weekend coming. You got any plans?
Yeah, ask Melanie about bird flu. But
Okay.
aside from that,
So Melanie, weekend, you got
I'm
any
going to
plans?
finish my book that I'm reading about the competition between Lindbergh and FDR about getting into World War II.
oh, interesting. I'm reading a book about Stalin, about
Ah.
how he played them at
Yalta?
Yalta.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are these larger-than-life
You
characters,
got any
right?
weekend plans, Melanie?
I'm just gonna, this is my first weekend where I don't have anything scheduled. My son went back to college.
So you're gonna sleep in?
I'm gonna do like as little as possible,
All right.
honestly.
Good.
What about you, John?
Happy wife, happy life. Whatever she wants to do, we're gonna do.
All right, there you go. Well, bird
It's,
flu, I'm
National-
concerned about it.
It's National Spouses Day on Sunday, so he's
Oh.
going to take his wife to dinner.
Oh, sweet, where are you gonna go?
I would like to take her to one of the exquisite Italian restaurants in Tewksbury,
Oh,
but we shall see-
Angelina's,
we
is that
shall
out
see.
there? Yeah.
There's not a bad Italian restaurant
Yeah.
in Tewksbury.
How's their,
Angelina's is delicious.
fettuccine, how's their fettuccine? That's my favorite.
My wife makes exquisite. My wife makes cruise food. She's delicious cook, and it's hard to beat her fettuccine when we go out.
With or without chicken?
Either way, I like the little tender chicken, not dry, tender chicken.
Yeah.
Okay, bird flu.
I'm concerned. We went from 15 birds to 60 birds. I think that's a quadruple jump. And I think, they're telling people not to let their cats outside. You're supposed to wipe off your shoes if you step in bird poop, so you don't bring it in the house. Like, there's something going on there. It's a pathogenic virus.
Eggs are in short supply.
I
I
have not
understand.
found that in our local
Yeah.
grocery stores yet. I mean, I can
Yeah.
see, I remember driving down to the Delaware along the Delaware had tons of egg houses. You could smell
Yeah.
them miles away, that ammonia, it was awful. Make your eyes water.
Yeah.
And I can see pockets being impacted. And if and when it starts hitting these farms, then we'll feel it. But I think our
Yeah.
eggs come locally.
Yeah.
So I think we're okay for that right now. The thing I'm concerned too about is the fruit that's still being picked in California fields despite the wildfire smoke. So I don't know, I might not buy strawberries for a while. I don't want to eat toxic strawberries.
Do you think the fires will make any difference in California elections?
Well, I would hope so. I mean, I feel like, and this is what we're saying, is Karen Bass a one-off that she just happened to go
Yeah.
on vacation? Or was she just being,
Clueless.
well, clues suggest that you're ignorant by accident. Or was she just being like, screw you? I don't know. I don't know her and I don't, but I feel she should have turned right around and come right back.
Yep.
And she didn't.
I
And-
voted in Huntington Beach for 25 years. They've got an all-Republican city council, but the rest of the state?
Yeah. Well, I remember living in Detroit and we had, which was considerable, 15 inches, any city is
Yeah.
still bad. And Dennis Archer didn't pull out, who was the mayor.
Wave goodbye to the people on TV.
Goodbye, see you next time. And he didn't get the plows out in time.
Yeah.
And once you drive on that junk, it's rutted for life.
Yeah.
It's rutted till springtime. And I can't remember where he was, but he did take responsibility and he did not come back the following term. I think these people have to be more mindful of their job. It's a 24-hour deal.
I was impressed. I came out of Hannaford's parking lot and drove by. There were 3 trucks with plows lined up. The 3 drivers were talking. Snow had not started yet.
Yeah.
So I ran my window down and wished them a safe evening and all, and they said, "Your taxpayer money at work, we're waiting."
Right. Well,
But I was glad they were there early.
Exactly.
Melanie, Facebook's still going, so.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's
So
okay.
when I took my son back up to school on Sunday, maybe it was a little bit too early because the snow didn't start until, 8 o'clock that night or something like that. But normally you see them stage on the Mass Pike, like they stage in those little cutout areas, and they weren't staged yet. So maybe it was a little bit too early. But that always made me smile. When I used to drive from either Washington or from here to Michigan to visit my folks, all along those turnpikes, you'd see all those plows ready to go. And I was always grateful because those stretches are diabolical.
Well, New Hampshire sprays the roads hours before the storm starts.
Oh, with that brine? or
As
some
does
sort of
Tewksbury.
solution?
Tewksbury does it too.
Yeah.
They spray the roads before the storm starts.
Yeah, and so I was,
Pennsylvania does that.
and I've driven in some crazy weather, but, knock on wood.
So,
never
Cliff,
had
I'm going to hit the stop button, or you want, anything else you want to say to the audience before we go?
Carry on. See you next time.
Okay,
Thanks for tuning in.
thanks.
Carry on. See you next time.
Okay,
Thanks for tuning in.
thanks.
Carry on. See you next time.
Okay,
Thanks for tuning in. Carry on. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Carry on. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in.